A lot of people have different ideas on what constitutes accountability. A lot of the time, the reality is that most cultures where people talk about the fact that we have accountability, when I get to see what goes on those programs, you realize that actually there's not accountability there. And so I think that we have to define that definition. I just look at it this way. In my perspective, accountability is all of these things here. And no doubt you'll have your own respective definition of this. But it's doing what you say you're going to do. It's getting it done, not making excuses, finding a way. What I really think a lot about with accountability, it's not that accountable people don't make mistakes. They do. They make almost as many mistakes as other people do, but it's just that they find their own ways to fix them. And so when an athlete makes a mistake, either at practice or in a game, they stick with it and they find a way to actually rectify that error. They perform to your agreed standards, some way, any way they can. They get the job done regardless of external circumstances that at a surface level may be perceived to be preventing them from getting the job done. So accountability can't happen unless we have a really clear idea about exactly what our role is. And so I'm going to look at some strategies now. If I think about it, the environment overall, and this is what I'd like you to think about with your programs. So if you take a snapshot of this slide, we've been running some coaches clubs where we've gone into a lot more depth on what accountability is and culture and these type of topics. And one of the activities that we set for all the coaches was, once we've defined, like we just did, the simple definition of accountability, we're having coaches to actually start to audit their program, because we need to see that the environment that we create is going to output a certain number of behaviors. And so if we want the behavior, we have to look at, well, how is the environment that we're creating shaping it? In the same way that I just mentioned that, the environment outside of our sporting environment, society is one where accountability has been allowed to be a little bit more lax. And as a result, people don't behave in an accountable way. So we have to look at the environment that we've got within our program and look at, is that driving accountability? Is it actually enabling it to happen? Or have we disabled accountability? And so when we look at the environment, these are some of the key factors that when I look at programs that are really successful, these are some of the factors that they have in common in terms of what they've got in their environment. Number one, they have effective role models. And the number one role model, as you probably have guessed, is you as a coach. And even with some discussions lately with coaches around, once they've actually audited their program, when they looked at the role model piece, not every coach turns up on time to meetings. Not every coach has prepared a program effectively for the day. Not every coach is as organized as what they should be. And there are a lot of coaches that are, but a lot of coaches recognize that, wow, when I look at myself, I'm not modeling accountability to the standard that perhaps I need to. And as a result of that, they've started thinking, well, maybe I need to start making some changes. And so I know a lot of you do a great job with your coaching, and I'm a coach too, and we've got a lot going on, and the role is significant, and there are many aspects to it. But whenever we're looking at making some improvements to our program, we simply have to look at making improvements to ourselves first.